Welcome to Broken Tool Garage. Got my Ramcharger in here. This is a 360 Mopar with the Mopar 508 Purple camshaft in there. About 9.8 to 1. Keep like pistons on it. So that's a bit of a duration camshaft. That's like a 248 at 50. And I'm trying to get this tuned in. I have drove it around a little bit. I'm getting it to where it's a lot better than what it was originally when I was trying to get the thing pulled in here. I'm going to go over some things about tuning with kind of the bigger cam, specifically my combo right here. It's kind of borderline too much duration at 50 on street, right? I mean, yeah, there's people who have something 10 times bigger than that, but for the most part, you're getting into where your vacuum is not going to be good, so your vacuum booster is not going to work as good and all that stuff, right? You're in that range. So let me show you a couple things over here on a carburetor I got on the table that I am doing to tune this thing up. Okay, so what I noticed was I'm moving my idle mixture screws, which are these right here, and it should change the idle when you're moving those in and out, and I really wasn't getting a good defined peak and RPM change by moving those. So a couple things can cause that. One is the throttle right here is opened up so far, because this is just your idle circuit, right? So your throttle, if it opens up past the idle circuit, you start getting into your primary jetting, and it's starting to run off the primaries. And that'll make it where these aren't doing anything. So that was one of the problems. I got my timing set. I'm at about 15 degrees right now, initial timing. And that's kind of the most I want to do right now until I get some of the other stuff taken care of and make sure I'm not going to spark knock. I don't want to just keep cranking the thing up there, right? So anyways, got that bumped up kind of where I want it. I'm locking that into place. That's a good happy medium for it. And I should be able to get this to run pretty good. So I still had a little bit of issue with that. And I think one of the things that's going on is just the vacuum just isn't quite up where it should be. Now Edelbrock, what they do is, let me get one of these apart. So this is where your metering rods are on an Edelbrock, and you see how simple it is to take it out. You don't have to take this screw all the way out. You got the little cap right there that rotates, and you pull it out. Super simple. You don't have to do much with it. So you see this setup here is you got a spring right there. Get a little closer. There, oh, it's gone. It's gone. It hit the shop floor. Oh, found it. So what's going on is this little tube here, there's a little vacuum hole, and it's trying to pull this rod down, right? So it's pulling it down. The spring right here is pushing it up. So it takes a specific amount of vacuum, like this is I think it was an 8 is what they have it marked at. So technically speaking, at 8 inches of vacuum, that spring's going to overcome and push it up. But everything's not an off-on switch like that. It's always going to be a temperature gradient. I'm looking at my heat transfer project over here. It's going to be a gradient. Now, if we look at this rod, what's going on here, tap the screen. See how that's stepped right there? So that goes into the jet in the carburetor. So whenever you're in cruise mode, you're on the fat part of it. And when you're in power mode, you go to this part over here. So I think some of my problem might be is the spring is, because it's pushing up, trying to make it go to the skinny part. The spring is more than what the engine is pulling, or at least a vacuum signal to that spot is pulling. So what I did, I put a little bit weaker spring in there to try to help with my idle. I'm trying to get it to where I can tune the idle. Right now, I really can't do anything with it. The other thing, you see our plug here, we're getting a little bit, tapping my screen, it's not doing anything. We're getting a little bit fouled right there, and I've been idling the truck quite a bit. So with a carburetor and a cam like that, it's going to start fouling the plugs out if you just sit there and let it idle and idle and idle. But that's one of the reasons I did that, is I think maybe I'm getting into the primary circuit or getting into the power circuit. It's lifting that up too high at idle. and I'm starting to get out of the idle circuit. So kind of a combination of some of those things, and that's what's making me run rich, which then you got to turn to screw more and all that stuff. Another reason why I think I'm running rich, other than the spark plug, is I induced a vacuum leak. So I just pulled, this is where the PVC goes right here, your positive crankcase ventilation goofy thing. So I pulled that out and just let it suck air in there. Now normally that'll make your vehicle run rough because it's just way too lean. It sped up really good, and picked up a lot of idle with that going in there. So that means I'm getting air in past the carburetor, the metering of the carburetor, to burn all that fuel. Okay, I'm going to explain the, couldn't get the tripod close enough. I'm going to explain what I was talking about with why the idle circuit right here has anything to do with the primary and power circuit. So if you remember the jet, it's got, that's this right here. It's got a little step right there, and then the major step there. This is where it's at when you're in cruise and idle, where it's supposed to be. If you look at the fuel flow, the fuel comes up through here, around all the way down to here. And then this is your idle mixture screw right here, right? So that's why they're related. If I'm over here and it's supposed to be on the fat part of that, and it gets to the skinny part because the vacuum or the spring is pulling it up because I don't have enough vacuum to pull it down, then it's going to make it run rich at idle. So that's why I changed that spring out to maybe address that. I'm probably going to have to add some timing, maybe even bring it over to the full-time idle instead of the part vacuum, the partial throttle, part throttle vacuum or ported. I don't like doing that, but it's mainly to get the, it's like going in with a computer tune and adding advanced at idle for specific situations. That's how you can do that with a carbureted vehicle. Okay, the other thing about the test drive, the brakes suck. Apparently my alignment with the camera also sucks. Anyways, so the brakes suck. I don't think the booster is leaking. Now, if you look back in other videos, this booster wasn't working good, and I found out that there was the seal where the rod goes through that holds the vacuum. It was bad. Had to buy another one of those. Like one person in the world sells them, so, and that's on eBay. I couldn't find anywhere else. Had the part number for it too, the Bendix part number. So I did that and painted it and cleaned it and put a new little bleeder thing in there. So I don't hear any hissing or any weird stuff. It doesn't seem like a brake booster, but I also fiddled with the brakes, so I'm going to go in and bleed those because it's, yeah, not real safe to drive right now. The speedometer don't work either. I figured that out. I didn't have it hooked up, so I'm going to hook that up. So once I tidy these things up and feel like it's going to be something good to drive around, oh, I got the transmission fluid topped off too. We're going to be looking pretty good. At this moment right now, as far as starting, it starts phenomenally good. I mean, see the video on that. You hit the key and the thing starts. Even if I come out the next day or something, hit the gas one time, hit the key, and it starts right up. Okay. Did a couple test drives, getting better. I do have the vacuum and vents on ported now, but I'm still running rich. And I think what the problem is the ignition system that I have. I'm running the all-in-one distributor from Speedmaster. It's the same thing as this Pertronics. We'll just look at it over here. And there's a reason I don't have that in the vehicle, because the spark was so weak, I couldn't even get the thing to idle. That's how bad that was. And there are some issues with that, and I've gone over it before. But if you look at what we got going on here, this black wire right here is the distributor ground. That's what it does. It grounds it through the module, right? Got the ground right there. So it has to ground through there, through here, all the way to somewhere. This one and the Speedmaster, same same basic design, and I think that's giving me some weak spark. I could have had a ground to it, but I'm just going to fix it the way I want to fix it and get a good stock style distributor, and I'll show you what I'm going to be getting on that later, and eventually want to get an MSD box as well. I think that's going to cure this up, because we're just running rich at idle. Added timing. It wanted some more. I think I'm a little much because I'm starting to get a little bit of spark knock going on there, but it definitely has picked up. Okay, 4th time's a charm on recording the correct screen. So this is the distributor I'm going with. It's from Mancini Racing. They're the distributor for it. It's actually Proform. I've used it before. It has the advanced springs in it for the centrifugal advance, and it has an adjustable vacuum advance if you want to mess with that. Drop-in replacement. Now, I don't have any of the wiring set up for that, so for $20 more, I'm actually going to hit back a couple times, or 3 times, and go forward. Come over here. So here's the kit that Proform sells. That's helpful. So it comes with the orange box, a harness, and a ballast resistor, and got some connectors in there for $20 more. So yeah, I could spend $20 just on a box from Rock Auto. So anyways, I'm going to go with that and run that system for now. I would like to upgrade to the Street Fire box. Right here. I've ran these before, and I like these because they have a click to enlarge. It's like smaller. It gives multi-fire, which is pretty good there. It's all digital in there, and it has a rev limiter. So a rev limiter is going to cost more than this box or something around there, right? So eventually I want to go to that combo, but right now I just need it to run and drive around a yard and get the rings broke in. Okay, the other thing I'm doing is ordering some parts from Rock Auto. Remember, our push rods were a little bit short. We didn't quite have any preload at all. And what I calculate that I needed somewhere between 62 and 102 thousandths to get me 40 and 80 preload respectively. So if we look at this push rod right here, it is a 7.565. The factory Mopar is a 7.5, so that'll give me a 65 thousandths longer, which should give me a good 40 thousandths preload right there in every case, right? So I'm going to be going with that, and they actually fit a 93 Cadillac 4.9 V8. That's what I did. I just looked up the length I needed and the diameter I needed on Melling's website. You see, there's the ball in, so that's going to fit both sides right there. Now I do think it's a little bit bigger diameter, but I'm not too worried about that right there. So that's one of the things I'm going to be getting. The other thing is, since I got that distributor that uses different spark plug wires, right? So that'll be the stock style right there instead of the Magnum style or HEI style or whatever style you want to call it, right? And figure I'm ordering, go ahead and pick me up a new set of plugs. And I'm getting a wheel bearing for Jim. So I cannot drive Jim at all, regardless of the engine, because the wheel bearing set around and went bad. So that's what I'm going to be getting. I don't know when I'll put that wheel bearing in, but that's my tuning stuff for the Ramcharger right there.